All right, today I'm going to walk you through real quick how to get started designing the packaging for the products that you guys created prior to spring break. First thing I want to show you is just some examples. I think most of you in my classes have designed toys marketed towards children. And the important things to remember when you're packaging or marketing really a toy on a shelf is that you want bright coloring that's going to appeal to the eye. Typically, you want your product to be visible. So you see like this box up here has a clear kind of view window to take a look at the doll, as do the Sesame Street toys down here. You also have your company or your product's logo clearly visible. In this case, you have both the company logo and the product name. The Zuni packaging is a little different, where you just have the company's logo branded on the side. The Sesame Street toys, you see both the Sesame Street logo, you see the Play School logo, and you see what the title of the product is as well. So what you guys are going to have to think about is, how do you get a three-dimensional box that you want to design, and how do you get that mapped out onto a two-dimensional surface? Because you're going to be designing this in Photoshop. And so Photoshop isn't going to allow you to create a three-dimensional prism that you can then design. What it is going to allow you to do, though, is to plan out your box laid out flat. And the way you have to think about that when you're doing it, you're going to need to have at least 6 sides laid out. If you're making just a regular rectangular prism like this one here, you're going to have to include the top. You're going to have to include the bottom. You have to include the 2 sides. You'll have to have the back side, and then you'll also have to have the front side. So when you're laying this out flat, it's going to look something like this. Again, the sides, you have the top, the bottom, the front, and the back. These gray areas are kind of the connector pieces that you would use to hold your box together if we were to actually print them out and create them. So taking a look at the 2 views, the 3-dimensional view and the flat 2-dimensional view side by side, you can see how they kind of connect to each other. So you can see the top part, box number 1, laid out over here, the bottoms matching up, the backs, the fronts, the side pieces. So your directions for this assignment are going to be relatively simple. You need to design your product's packaging in Photoshop. You're going to have to create the layout using shape tools. Now, the important word on this is create. You're not going to simply cut and paste a already designed laid out box and then just put it in as a layer in Photoshop. You're actually going to have to draw the 6 individual sides laid out entirely on your own. So those should be visible to me in the layer panel on the right side of Photoshop. You must have some sort of design elements on all 6 sides of the box, the top, the bottom, the 2 side pieces, the front and the back. Things that must be included: you must have your product or company logo that you designed last week in multimedia. Must include pricing on there somewhere, barcodes, your company information, and your product information. And I would like your product also visible either through some sort of view window or with a picture of your product on the packaging. So if we were to go into Photoshop, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to, as normal, file and create a new file. We're going to create a new project. So I would title this Product Packaging. The size really depends on how big you're wanting to make your design. I'm going to lay mine out simply as 8 by 10 inches. And I would go with 300 pixels per inch as your resolution. Then here is my surface. So now in order to do this, you're going to have to use, I would primarily use the rectangular tool here in the bottom left, and I would use that to draw out your different sides of the box. So I'd start maybe with this as my top piece. I would line up and do a much better job at this, you would take your time. I'm just kind of going through this relatively quickly. Let's try that again. How about I add a black stroke to these so you can see them? That would be helpful. So you have your top piece. You have what will end up being the front. You have the bottom. Now, when you're doing this, the top and the bottom typically are going to have to match up because they're going to be the same size. You would make the back. And then you can make the two side pieces as well of the packaging. So I would like you to take a little better time lining these up and making sure that they're all the right appropriate size. But as of right now, I'd at least have my 6 sides of the box. You can include the tabs to hold them together if you wish, but it is not something I'm going to require. Then from here, I would just use your Photoshop skills that we did throughout all of trimester 1 and add in the different design elements. When you're finished with this, you need to save it as a PSD or a Photoshop file and upload it onto Google Classroom. If it's a JPEG, I can't grade it. I need to be able to view your layer toolbar on the right side, so make sure it is a Photoshop document. Thanks, and good luck.